The price to be paid is 2,000 gold pieces, or she will be killed.
If we pay the ransom for just one of our people, then all of us are at risk.
It would be one more victory for the powers of darkness if she were no longer among us.
There is one who has helped us before. A warrior who fought on the side of light during those dark years. If he could be found, he might help us. News has reached us of his passing through the Northern Territories a few days ago. Now, if you should find him, give him this. He'll know that his help is needed.
By what name is this warrior called?
He is called Hawk.
This is the emergency podcast system. This is not a test. Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may already be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own. Do not panic. Specialists have been dispatched. They will help you identify these pretenders and defend you against this invasion of the remake. Please stand by for further instructions. Welcome to the Invasion of the Remake podcast. I am your host, Jason Bishop, and with me today is, actually that chair's empty, and Trish Coughlin.
Hello! Hello. No, Sam has been kidnapped by Voltan.
Voltan. Yes, we're going to be talking about Hawk the Slayer from 1980, British fantasy film.
Yeah.
The Brits really kind of took to it because they wound up doing, there was supposed to be...
There's supposed to be a series.
A series of these movies. I can see why there wasn't.
Yeah.
But it did continue into the Rebellion comic books. 2000 AD had a strip. And recently, a few years ago, anyway, Garth Ennis did a pass at it. So that's kind of cool. I didn't have the chance to read any of that, even though I run a comic book store, and I'm pretty sure I at least have the 2000 AD stuff in the American Eagle collections.
Oh, wow.
The issues, yeah. But I just didn't have time. I'm swamped at work.
You've got a lot on your plate.
I do. I really was curious, though. But it's interesting to see how this spawned something, and this is actually kind of perfect for Invasion of the Remake. It really has all those little fantasy elements that we kind of dig out of a fantasy film, but its execution's not so great.
Yeah, it's a mess, but I mean, like you say, there's little bits. There are bits I was completely charmed by. I mean, I'm down for this ragtag group of...
Yeah, I'm trying to
warriors.
decide what their biggest special effects was. I'm pretty sure it was the jump cut.
Yes. It was the jump cut, and it was the light up rings from Tron or whatever.
Yeah. The little hand hilts they did that fairly well.
Little hand tilt. The odd time when the Mind Stone was moving on its own. Mm-hmm. That's about it.
Pretty low tech. I mean, it's 1980, just coming out of the 70s, so it is what it is, you know?
Yeah. Well, not to jump ahead, when the witch or a woman says, I'm going to spray them with light bombs, and it's just really light up balls they're just throwing through a window. You know what? I enjoyed that.
I laughed my ass off when they did that. It all right, so they got light up bouncy balls from
wherever.
From wherever somebody was
just at one of those machines with the coins and
mid full of quarters. Do we have enough yet?
And they have 1,000 of those little eggs where they had to take it out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I mean, structurally speaking, this is pretty traditional with a quest movie, gathering up your crew as you go. I mean, we've kind of done better with this already in the past when we did Krull and Beastmaster.
Yeah.
Have we done any others like that?
We've done Krull, Beastmaster. Didn't we do the Sword and the Sorcerer?
Oh, yeah, Sword and the Sorcerer.
That one with
we did Dragon Slayer.
Dragon Slayer.
Rutger Hauer. Oh, yeah, Lady Hawk.
Well, no, we did Lady Hawk, but we also did another one with Jennifer Jason Leigh and Rutger Hauer, and that was a swordy one.
Oh, Flesh and Blood.
That's it.
That one's very different from these. That
It
one I
is.
wouldn't quite call structurally like this. But the ones I kind of named, other ones I named, yeah, they're all kind of like that. Gather up your guys, get to the end.
Yeah.
And that's how you get around writing a plot.
Exactly. And there's an evil guy who's helped by a wizard or some magic or a god of some kind.
Yeah, all those things. In this case, it is an evil brother that's 30 years older than your hero.
Yeah.
Who's fighting. I'm not sure what he's mad about, to be honest. He killed his dad and then fucked off, but left the magic sword.
Well, I think he was mad because, I don't know, I wanted backstory. This is what I kind of want to dig into. I mean, you sort of get to the beginning. Dad dies. Good son comes by. Dad gives him stone to go with the sword. Blah, blah, blah. I want to dig into why this is so powerful, why this is important. Like, I want to know where the father got it, why he has it, what the purpose of it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't really get you anywhere. And then all of a sudden he's very mad, but he's got his own wizard with his own magic rock. So I don't know why he's that mad that he doesn't get that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Like, for this evil guy who's lusting for power, he leaves the most powerful item in their realm behind.
Yeah. And what I found really weird is if Hawk is such an amazing dude who's going to quote unquote fulfill a prophecy for this dad, he's let stuff get real bad. Like, he hasn't done anything to stop his brother at all.
No, it's like he abandoned his kingdom and then was called.
For decades.
Yeah. It's like, well, wait a minute. Voltan kills his dad, gets chased off by Hawk, and then what? Hawk just leaves the realm to him?
Yeah, there's got to be some reason why maybe he left, or he thought it was in good hands, and then Voltan like stole power. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have the budget to do what I think we're both thinking. Like, there should be a whole bunch of people. I mean,
yeah. And how does Voltan meet that wizard guy? We don't know. That he just shows up halfway through the movie.
Yeah,
and there's so many unanswered questions. There's some mythology that honestly would be very interesting to dig into, but we don't get to.
Yeah. And I want to kind of create some more mythology too, to kind of tie some things together, because they see these halves of these characters in a way. Like, I watched this movie and I'm like, oh, this inspired Black Star, which inspired He-Man. Like, there's always this powerful sword and these opposites that are fighting for it, or have half of the sword or something. Like,
what struck me the most was the music in this movie. You've got all this kind of synth weird stuff, and I'm like, this is what inspired Lady Hawk. With all that synth stuff.
Yeah, the music was actually all done by the co-writer, Harry Robertson.
Yeah.
While the directing and other half of the script writing was director Terry Marcel.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see that this was obviously a small budget thing that these two guys kind of pieced together and did all sorts of roles on the set and behind the scenes, post-production, pre-production. They were wearing a lot of hats to get this made.
Well, as I said, there's bits I'm charmed by because I know it's so low budget. I did some background reading, finding out later it was a passion project for these guys. It does kind of come through because it seems they have ideas and they want to have some fun. And they don't get to everything.
Yeah, well, I think one guy had an idea, like it was going to be more of a historical fantasy film, none of the magic stuff. And then the other guy was like, oh, you got to have the magic stuff. And the magic stuff really took over.
Oh, absolutely. You know what? I $100 bet somebody thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a sword with a hilt that had a hand on it? And the hand is holding a magic stone.
Well, I'm sure by this point, like, Star Wars had come out. I do believe Conan the Barbarian had come out. So now we were getting into a lot of sword and sandals and sword and sorcery type films being produced, mostly on a low budget level, not at a big studio level. So I wanted to get in early while that trend was going.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, they did some smart stuff where it's not a lot of different areas where they could film a lot of the outdoors in one kind of small area of England. It works.
there was something about the film because of its low budgetness that I kind of dug, where it's like they have a giant,
Yes.
but he's not like super, like they don't have the special effects, so they had this big dude.
guy.
You think about like Andre the Giant
who I would have put in this had he been alive.
Yeah. Yeah. So like Andre did the giant role in a fantasy film. So that's kind of what they did. And they did like shorter people for the elves and dwarves.
Yeah. Exactly. Your very interesting elf who doesn't say much.
Yeah.
And the blind witch.
Yeah. I kind of got thinking about it like these were just the names of that would give normal humans that were short or tall or.
Yeah. The dwarf, the giant, the elf.
Although the elf had the worst ears.
Yeah, but I mean,
He was also the worst actor of the bunch.
I was in my head just telling myself he's just doing something restrained. He is sad. He is the only one of his kind. That's what he's doing. And when you talk about the ears, I'm from Voltan. I've seen worse ears.
I suppose. I think that's where they got them.
You can buy them. You can buy them at the gas station.
I'm pretty sure that's where they got them.
Exactly. But I did enjoy him being such a good shot. He's a very quiet but deadly warrior.
Ragtag bunch. They don't explain how Hawk knows these people. He goes to gather them. He doesn't just wander from area to area knowing where they are. He goes to a cave where he's transported by the Phantom Zone. You know, the Phantom Zone spinning rings that they would send
in Superman. That's where it was.
Movie. Yeah.
Where it was every evil person, Terrence Stamp, and the two others.
All of his friends lived in the Phantom Zone.
See, but I loved that. Like, that was just transport. And honestly, I loved that it saved time, which, I mean, I would like to keep it because then it saves us time to give more story.
Oh, but you always bitch about we're walking, Hobbit walking.
I do. I hate all the walking. I really do.
I mean, at this point, it's not a fantasy film if I have some really pointless, pretty shots of terrain.
Well, we will get those. We will, because we're going to have Ranulph still searching for him. We're going to make him search a little bit longer, but we're going to actually go with him.
Boy, that guy was just everybody beat on that poor guy.
I know. Loses a hand and then just shit goes wrong for him all over.
We're introduced to him having lost his hand in a battle. I mean, he's just constantly getting beat up and captured.
I know. The poor dude.
Yeah, we got two quests going because he's trying to find Hawk, this amazing hero.
Yes. Well, I mean, how we talk about how Hawk disappears and Voltan does whatever he wants in this kingdom, and it's gone to basically a very dark place. I mean, shouldn't maybe part of his quest to find Hawk be like, you have to come back?
Yeah, I think the way that portion should be is Ranulph is already there at the kingdom. He's one of the soldiers defending off this attack by the brother who's left to gather his own army to take over this kingdom. And it's going badly.
Yes.
And why the king's not out there fighting with his mind sword.
I know. I'm trying to wrap my head around a reason why he wouldn't be there. Honestly, we got to justify why he doesn't suck. Because if he's not there defending his people, he sucks so hard.
Yeah, this is our fantasy remake. And it's not to 1980. I'm going to assume we have a bigger budget to work with, or at least a computer where we can fill out a battle scene.
Exactly. We are taking our sorcery, which is supernatural, in a budget form.
Yeah.
That's how we're doing it.
Yeah. Because you're not going to draw people in with what this movie is anymore. I mean, there's great elements in there, but I can also see why Riff Tracks did their version.
Yes, which I almost I got partway through. I'm like, oh, it's the Riff Tracks. No, I need the regular version.
I said the same thing to my roommate. I'm like, do I watch the regular or do I watch the Riff Tracks? Oh, you might get some insights from the Riff Tracks. I'm like, yeah, but I want to write my own jokes.
I do. And I want to kind of get it clean before it's tainted with anything. I mean...
Yeah. If I'd had the time, I would have maybe watched the Riff Tracks later before this podcast, but I didn't. No. And that's fine because I don't want to be unduly influenced by that.
Exactly. And our job is to find the interesting things, the little gems we want to sprinkle into our new imagining of it. And if it's constantly put down, it kind of makes it hard to find those little gems.
Yeah. Well, it's already hard.
It really is.
All right. Well, that's enough jabber. Let's give you a trailer, catch you up, and we'll get right into it.
Enough! Two blood brothers, out for each other.
You have found the power which is rightly mine.
The firstborn brother, they called him Voltan. Enter, Dark One. The devil's agent, the servant of evil.
Kill him!
The second-born brother, they called him Hawk. He had one secret weapon, the ancient power of the Sword of Mind, and he was out for revenge.
Last thing you will ever see is the woman you love in my arms.
I am ready. Two brothers, two armies, two forces of good and evil. Voltan's army, the devil's army, and Hawk's. A dwarf, a giant, an elfin bowman, a witch, and Hawk. Together, they took on the mighty Voltan. Together, they took on the devil's agent. Two blood brothers, with only blood between them. Beyond the edge of darkness, there is a world of sword and sorcery.
And that was the trailer for Hawk the Slayer from 1980. And this was written and directed by Terry Marcel, who wrote Jane and the Lost City with Maud Adams.
Nice.
And Prisoners of the Lost Universe, another fantasy film. Co-wrote those with Harry Robertson, who also did the music for this. And the stars. A very hammy Jack Palance.
Oh, he must have been so full after every day of eating up all that scenery.
Yeah. He had this interesting helmet. I wouldn't say it was cool, but it crossed over one eye, which was covering up a wound. That's something part of the backstory where he's been, and they take forever to do this backstory, which was probably 10 minutes of footage tops. But, but he's been horribly burned on that one side, and some evil wizard says, oh, we can't fix that, and some good one says, oh, I could fix that. No, that's fine.
Yeah, the abbess is like, I can fix that, and that's what kind of bothered me. It's a burn wound.
Yeah.
It's not magical. I thought he had some sort of magical curse, like
so did I.
Some sort of leprosy that had taken a part
like
of him
a
because it
fireball
was so
to
evil,
the face,
right?
Like his evil was coming out or something.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll fix it to that. Like I almost want that mostly skull or something, bone showing, and I want it to look way grosser.
Absolutely.
But my theory is Jack Palance read this script and I'm like, I'm not going to be in that makeup all this time. You're putting the helmet on me. Fuck that.
Yeah. Honestly, smart move.
Yeah. It wouldn't be the first time he did stuff like that. So,
yeah.
Jack Palance, of course, you know from Tango Cash, Shane, City Slickers. And this one's a tough one. You might not have caught this. I did talk about him in episode 379 when I talked about Solar Crisis in the Alan Smithy episode.
Ah, yes. I didn't catch that one.
John Terry plays our hero Hawk. Second billing, even though he's the
lead.
Title character.
But it's Jack Palance. What are you going to do?
That's right. Of course, he's been in some stuff too. The Living Daylights, a Bond movie, Full Metal Jacket. He's got some good creds.
He's seen some stuff, and he's actually an older, handsome guy. He was often mistaken for the person who did the VO on Lost. It wasn't him.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Bernard Bresslaw was Gort the Giant, and he was in a lot of the Carry On movies from England. And we talked about him in episode 88.
Krull?
No.
Jabberwocky?
Yes. 94 was
Krull.
Krull.
I did it.
Yes, you did.
Because Sam isn't here, I got to do these ones.
We'll see how you do, but you got
we'll
those.
find out.
You got both. Yeah. Ray Charlson was Crow the Elf. He's in Out for a Kill and Empire of the Sun.
Yes.
William Morgan Shepherd is that old voice you heard in that thing that one time.
Yeah.
And man, I love this guy.
He's so cool.
I'm
When I found
upset
out he
he's
wasn't
not
around anymore,
Yeah, I felt the same way. I'm like, oh man.
I wanted to put him in it.
I would have. I totally would have. If you don't know who he was the jail keeper in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. So he was a Klingon in that. He was in Transformers, the first movie, and Needful Things.
Yes.
Among all sorts of film and TV roles.
I remember him from Needful Things. That's the major one.
I think the first thing I remember him from was a semi-regular on MacGyver. The original MacGyver.
Yeah, I don't remember much about MacGyver. I just remember a lot of stuff with gum.
I loved his character. I think he was actually Murdoch. I think that was the character's name. But don't quote me on that. That was a long time ago for me.
I know. We're doing deep cuts.
Patricia Quinn is credited as the woman or sorceress. Mm-hmm. Yes, a sorceress is also a woman.
Yes.
Good crediting. She was in Lords of Salem and episode 316.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That is correct. Cheryl Campbell was Sister Monica. She was in Chariots of Fire and Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan. Annette Crosby was the Abbess. She was in, she was a voice in the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings and also in Into the Woods.
Yes.
Catriona McCall was Elaine. She was in City of the Living Dead, which I saw just recently on Joe Bob.
Nice.
Yeah. And House by the Cemetery, which I also saw on Joe Bob, I think, last year. Shane Bryant was Drogo.
Yeah.
And he was in Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell. Yeah. Great title. Harry Andrews was the High Abbot, and he was in Superman and episode 342.
Oh, I didn't get that one.
Death on the Nile.
Oh, I can't read my writing. Harry.
She got it, and then she forgot it.
No, I have it here, but I can't read my writing.
Well, that's a problem. Christopher Benjamin Fitzwalter was in The Plague Dogs and a different Tarzan, The Legend of Tarzan from 2016 with Margot Robbie.
Oh, yeah. Okay. For some reason, I always watch the Christopher Lambert one.
That's dumb, That's Greystoke.
Yeah, Greystoke.
Yeah. Roy Kinnear was the innkeeper. He was in Watership Down in episode 64.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That's right. Patrick McGee is the priest. He was in A Clockwork Orange and Chariots of Fire. Ferdy Main was the old man, or the father of Hawk. I don't know why everybody's got like these weird credits. He was in The Fearless Vampire Killers and episode 40.
Oh, I didn't get him.
I mentioned it. Conan the Barbarian.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he just did a lot of sword stuff.
He did. Graham Stark was Sparrow. He was in Superman 3 and episode 155.
I didn't get
Casino Royale.
Crap.
William Clark was Scar. He was in Firefox and A Clockwork Orange. Declan Mulholland was Sped. He was in Time Bandits and The Land That Time Forgot. Derek O'Connor I recognized right away, even though it's a small role. He plays a character named Ralph that's trying to basically roll Hawk. Him and his buddy. So there's a little battle between them and he's quickly dispatched. But he was in Daredevil, Deep Rising, Lethal Weapon 2.
Oh, Deep Rising.
He was in Lethal Weapon 2 as the right-hand man to I don't know.
He was henching.
He was the henchman for the South African guys. He was also in Brazil and episode 88.
No.
I mentioned it already.
Conan?
No, Jabberwocky.
Jabberwocky.
Yeah, he did some stuff. Peter Benson was the Black Wizard. He was in Putney Swope, which I've run the trailer and called movie trailer a go-go.
Putney Swope's odd.
I've not seen it, but the trailer is weird. Cry of the Banshee and The First Great Train Robbery, and Peter O'Farrell was Baldwin the Dwarf, and he was in Legend and episode 67.
Santa Claus the movie.
That's correct.
I knew I got that one.
And that's a big cast.
Them.
There's a lot of them. Good hunk of these guys were dead within minutes of their appearance. This movie's got a huge body count.
Oh, absolutely. Like you talk about the one guy. Well, he's got Ranulph, the two guys. They've got Ranulph captured. They're trying to get him.
Right, yeah.
And they die, like, right quick. Because Hawk's there. Because that's odd. Ranulph was looking for Hawk, but Hawk found him. It was a whole thing. But I think it's because the witch sent him to go find Ranulph.
They're like, you're having trouble on your own. We'll try to get you guys to meet in the middle.
Exactly. We need to shorten this.
IMDb has the total body count of 117 people.
Oh, wow.
That's better than most horror movies, even
really
though
is.
This is a very bloodless PG affair.
Well, there's several really big, epic things when they go into the Abbey and all the bad guys are there. They kill a bunch of those guys.
Yeah. Well, here in order of death is one guard, the old man, the father of Hawk, Elaine, Scar, one rough in the tavern, 3 thieves who stalk Ranulph, Ralph the bowman, Sister Monica, 26 of Sped's henchmen, Sped the hunchback himself.
Yep.
Ferret, Drogo, 2 of Voltan's henchmen in retribution by Drogo's death.
Yeah.
40 of Voltan's men in the Abbess's failed rescue.
Yeah.
42 of Voltan's men in the Abbey's final assault.
Yeah.
The nun who saves Gort. And spoiler, Baldwin, Ranulph, and Voltan.
Yeah. There's a few big bunches is what puts that number up.
Yeah. So even though it doesn't, when you watch it, like I was actually surprised by that. And like, oh yeah, I guess there was a lot of that, but it happened so quickly. All the battles happen really fast. You got the elf firing off, and they got the jump cuts, and just everything's like zoom, 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 zoom.
And Ranulph's got his crossbow, which I kind of dug. Where he's just like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. His one-armed crossbow.
Yeah.
But they were speeding up the fight scenes.
Yeah.
So they would look more dynamic.
Yes.
And doing those weird cut stuff. I mean, the final battle between Hawk and Voltan is about 45 seconds.
Yeah, it's not very long.
It's so anticlimactic.
And I think it's because it was Jack Palance. It's just kind of a little lumbering.
Yeah, well, I think most of the movies like that, but Jack Palance's hammy delivery is so amazing.
Yes, exactly. I was having trouble trying to find somebody who I thought could be as hammy as him because I want to keep that. I want a mustache trolling bad guy in my sword and sorcery movie. I love it.
This is Voltan.
Wait.
I have words for you.
I will go.
I know you hide the one called Hawk behind your doors. Hear me, and hear me well. Tomorrow, when the moon is high, I shall return. Hawk! And the gold will be given to me, or you shall have your lady back with her innards tied around her scrawny neck, and this place shall be wiped from the face of the land.
Yeah, I kind of want the Black Wizard to have more of a presence. In my version, I thought I'd make it female because I had this idea with the Abbess. I was thinking like
the wizard maybe wants the Abbess because...
Well, I had this idea because I didn't even understand the Abbess and why the fight was happening there and what the connection was to the kingdom. And I wanted to make connections to this place that was holy, that created priestesses and sorceresses. Like everything kind of comes back around to this place.
Well, I mean, you could have it where, I mean, the nuns, the sisters there, to some people it may seem like sorcery, but to them it's healing and it's healing magic. And that's where they are practicing some sort of magic, but to them that's not it.
Yeah. And the ones that leave, like the sorceress on Hawk's team, she went and got more power as she left, but her foundation started there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was really cool too, because she was this seer, and she had this bandage over her eye with the
one
an
eye
eye
on top of it.
symbol.
What I found really great about this movie is what you have, and you sometimes don't have in Sword and Sorcery or Sword and Sandals movie. She had stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't just some woman who came by and did exposition. She did stuff.
Well,
it was
she
really
did a lot
exciting.
of exposition too, but
she did.
I
but she still
wanted
did stuff.
more of her. That's how much I dug the way she looked and her presence in the film.
Yeah, the way she's like, oh, he saved my life, and she's one of the crew essentially.
Yeah. I mean, really, I don't know how much we have to say about the plot because there isn't much of one.
No.
You've got Ranulph looking for Hawk. Once he finds Hawk, they go get the crew together. They go to the Abbey. They defend the Abbey. There's a little back and forth, and Voltan actually shows up by himself. Goes, I'm gonna get you. Yeah, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah.
And why they didn't get him, I don't know.
I don't know.
All right. Let's just kill you now then before you come back with more people. It was baffling to me. I mean, and this old dude's a really good fighter and whatnot. Like, yeah. If he's going to be that, I wanted them closer in age because, I mean, Jack Palance was 60 at this point.
Yeah.
And Hawk was 30. This brother thing wasn't very plausible.
No, well, I mean,
Jack Palance looked older than his dad.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say his dad would have been 10. You can have sort of, to me, I justified a bit of it where I'm like, you can have a large age gap, but it would be two different mothers. If you did that. Because, I mean, yeah.
Well, half brother, half siblings, I get where some resentment would come then if he didn't grow up in the kingdom and all of these things were given to Hawk.
Yes.
So there is something there that can be said there. I could also say maybe they are closer in age. You could still have that.
Yeah.
But the scars on his face, being aged up or whatever, even though he's still very fit, this is the cost of seeking power for him.
What? It could be the cost of seeking power, but
because
also
he's doing the quick road and and it's dangerous and there's a cost to it, a physical cost.
Yeah, because I also kind of maybe he was born slightly deformed and it's only exacerbating his condition.
Well, I mean, it's a fantasy film. You could just get away with the bastard son of the king, right?
True. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because I kind of like the idea of the cost of power. That's an interesting idea.
And he thinks that this is going to satisfy him in some way, but it's the one thing that's killing him.
Yeah, and he wants everything he was denied by not being a prince.
Yeah, I like that.
So at least we got some motivation, because I didn't understand any of the motivation.
No.
I mean, he just wants the Abbey and the gold in the Abbey. Like, the Abbey was fairly rich, and our heroes wound up taking the gold, so...
Well, I don't know.
Apparently
Here's the deal.
They're not as that heroic.
I had a thing where I was looking at it and I'm going, oh yeah, because we're going to give all this money to them. But when Voltan's been doing all his shit, what have they been doing for all the poor people going around there? They've just been hanging out with their gold.
Well, when everybody dies and Gort's kind of taken to one of the nuns there, and they've given him the gold. He's holding it on his horse. I honestly thought he was just going to give it back.
Yeah.
The whole time I thought, oh, he's like, you know what? Here you go. Maybe I'll take a little bit.
I was hoping he wouldn't, honestly, because I'm
he
sitting there
kept
going...
it. He didn't give anything back. He took it. And
they got plenty. They're not doing anything with it except sitting in their abbey and just hanging out. They don't need it.
This is what happens when they pass around the hat.
Exactly. They don't need it. This is what bothered me. It's fine. And the thing is, Voltan came there because he knew they had money. This is what bothers me. Yeah. Maybe it would be an interesting
friends are
thing.
Mercenaries.
They are mercenary. But what will be funny is you can kind of see a bit of Voltan's ideas. Like, the church has all this money and they're not doing anything with it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have him be like, well, when I was starving out all those villages, you guys didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So why do I care?
Yeah. I want to give at least some characters a little more motivation. Like, maybe Baldwin, the dwarves are usually known as foragers. maybe his people were the ones that crafted the sword for Hawk's family in the first place, like millennia ago.
Well, they mentioned the elves. It's like an elvish stone.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a connection with Crow.
Yeah, and there you go. You could have that connection there as well. Like, it's one of their
the
mythical
dwarves did the
items that
iron,
been
and
bond-
the elves
Yeah.
had the
And
stone.
Gort the Giant is just a mercenary thug friend.
Yeah, he's just a dude.
We don't have to give everybody motivations.
Oh, no.
Gold
he's-
is enough for him.
Gold's enough for him, but also Hawk is his friend. Honestly, you can have it as simple as he just has loyalty to his friend.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I mean, he agrees to go before the gold's offered up. He's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to do this for free.
Yeah.
Oh, they got plenty of gold.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
good.
kind of what they did. I'd love to see what the script was. I think it was just an outline.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It seems to me the guy who played the Baldwin, the dwarf, he had a lot. Like, he was the comic relief. It seems like they did some concentration on that.
Well, but not a lot, because it was the same joke over and over again.
Oh, it
like
was.
him and the giant fighting over food, but the dwarf is smarter in how to get it.
Exactly.
Because he's got a gift for a gab, and he's the con man.
It's holy food. You don't know what it's going to taste like. I laughed so hard at that. That was so dumb.
It was so dumb. I did not laugh. I like, oh, this is pretty weak sauce. I like this idea of quibbling over food, but it's given way too much time.
It is. It is. It is. Well, and then at the one point he tells him it's lizard eyeballs, but it's really just sugar things because he didn't want him to eat all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Gort's a pushover.
He really is. You know, I want him to be maybe a skosh more intelligent.
Yeah.
I want okay, it's going to be a ripoff, but like Lord of the Rings, where you have the dwarf and the elf who are always jabbing at each other.
And that's fine. Like, we've seen models of that work, and I mean, it's in this movie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if Gort made a mistake. Like, if he's so much of a pushover that the enemy takes advantage of that as well.
Yeah.
Early on.
Ooh, yeah.
Get a little intrigue where his actions accidentally betray the group.
Yeah.
And he didn't mean for that to happen.
He didn't mean for that to happen at all.
Something they've convinced him to do creates an opening for the bad guys.
Yes. Yeah. But what would that be? Oh, that's a tough call. Because to make it so it's an innocent mistake, but you don't want to get so mad at Gort.
Well, we'd have to have some other characters on Voltan's side.
Yeah.
Have more presence. I mean, he's so Darth Vader-y. He just kills everybody for petty little things.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to have him give his men a little more agency, at least a handful of them, so he has his core group too.
Yeah.
So the other characters have somebody to fight.
Yeah, have his quote-unquote son.
Yeah, there's the son who really doesn't have a lot of presence in the film
His
either.
presence is to be murdered so he can inexplicably be mad that his son's murdered, even though he threatened to murder his son several times before that.
Yeah, and the son's looking for dad's approval, and that's actually pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Classic fantasy stuff. But it's so heavy-handed, like it happens pretty quickly, goes out, try to impress his dad, and gets killed by doing so.
Yeah, he was sort of throwaway. It was just, I think they were just trying to be like, Voltan needs to be mad now about something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, his son's
you
dead.
killed Drogo, my son, and now there shall be vengeance.
Yeah, all of
Like,
a sudden.
More vengeance? Okay.
More vengeance? There was earlier vengeance and now there's more of it?
Yeah, we need a pocket full of vengeance.
Just going to pump more vengeance out?
Yeah.
Squeeze some more vengeance out of there?
I'm not mad enough. I need more. More. But, if he's gone on this mission, maybe Drogo's bumped into Gort. Gort doesn't know who this is yet.
Yes.
Convinces him, like, hey, she likes you. Maybe they're at a bar or something near the Abbey. And gets him off the map a little bit, creating an opening where he should be guarding the door. And he's pretty steadfast most of the time when he's on guard duty.
Yeah. Or, you can have it just as simple as Drogo pretends to be against his father, being like, yeah, it's gotten really bad out here. And so Gort thinks, oh yeah, this guy is another person who might be on our side, and tells them where they are or something like that.
Well, wait a minute. The movie's already got that one nun who thinks these guys are making things worse. Now, what if she's embedded in there? Maybe she's the girlfriend to Drogo, or
oh, there you go,
or a half sister, something. So there's a connection there where she's working things from the inside for Voltan's men via Drogo. Drogo's initially kind of the guy in charge of trying to get this cash, but now we've gone all Magnificent Seven defending the Abbey, which I think is going to be more of...
it's going to be a bigger battle for sure.
Yeah, and this is more of a priestess palace type of scenario now. It's still a religious place, but we're going to be making it a little more fantasy-like.
And Voltan sort of, he wants the gold, but he also wants the magic.
Yeah.
Because that's more valuable.
Yeah, I don't think this is the center of the kingdom, but it's the center of maybe magical power that, like, it's almost... the Harry Potter school for these priestesses. It's this big crystalline structure that...
Oh, he can have it where this is... You know how he was talking about his father, like, give me the power that you have, blah, blah, blah. It would have been his father had told him, like, that's where he learned what he knew, and that's where he gained some of his power, and he knows that's there.
Yeah, he wants those secrets.
He wants those secrets. He knows that because his father wasn't going to tell him, so he wants to go get it from there. He's like, that's the only way I'll be truly powerful and unstoppable.
I like that.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. There's the connection.
And well, I mean, Hawk's dad... He's obviously allies with the elves. He's allies with the dwarves, or at least historically so.
Yeah.
And he's got very powerful artifacts to do that. Now, how we dispatch him, because we should see him die in battle rather than alone in his courtyard or whatever. In his...
in his room. Yeah. It's not even, it's just like a weird
I don't even
blank.
remember what happened to him.
He was in just kind of a blank room. And then Jack Palance comes in, give me the magic. It is mine. I'm the oldest. And he's like, no, you're evil. The prophecy has started. And then Jack Palance, I'm going to stab you. And then he leaves. And then Hawk shows up.
Yeah, this is how bad it is. Like, I want to open with a big battle.
Yeah.
He's fatally wounded by Voltan. We should still have that.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I want this to have been a relationship that has been fractured prior to this movie starting. Way fractured.
And the Mind Stone, I did like that they were separated at the time when... So we got to see that everything connect up. That was kind of cool, but... It turned into like Thor's hammer when they were all connected.
Really
just
did.
call on the sword.
But, I mean, that was the whole point. It's the Mind Stone. It will do what he says. Which I found really odd. When all those nuns had nooses by their head, he didn't mind cut the rope.
Oh, yeah. Like, I want to see more. If that's what you could do with the sword, you go huck it, it goes spinning around and... cutting down people being hanged, and we see it do things that swords don't normally do.
Because we'll have the budget. I think that was partly budgetary.
Yeah. And unlike this movie, it'll be a special effects sword that's safe because they made a real sword that was sharp.
Yeah.
And
you gotta be careful.
Yeah, people were getting hurt, especially Bernard Breslau. He got hurt a lot.
That poor guy. That poor guy. Well, and I look at his IMDb and I'm like, he did a lot of carry-on films, and I know what kind of comedy that is. He must have gotten hurt a lot.
Yeah. Like he could take it. Tough dude.
Tough dude, but just a big giant punching bag for people.
Actually, Jack Palance is a tough dude too.
He really is.
He also got hurt on set, and he just kept going. He's like, it's fine.
He's been hurt on a few sets though.
Yeah.
To be fair, Jack Palance, you got to get some more insurance for Jack. Just out the gate.
Yeah, including the Oscars.
Right?
Like he's doing one-arm push-ups at 80.
His daily life required a lot of insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, with him, that was funny. Doing kind of the connections, I was looking, why haven't we done more Jack Palance?
I'm surprised,
I thought
too.
for sure.
Yeah, we just haven't hit his stuff yet. We're getting there now. We got one here. Okay, so we got more with Voltan.
Yes.
I think we've given him some good motivation.
You could have, the beginning Hawk isn't there, and he won't be there for his father's death. He'll come back later.
Right.
Because his father's defending the homeland from Voltan, but Hawk is away, I don't know, maybe an emissary somewhere, or he's also dealing with another battle, or he's trying to, he's off on a side quest, and that's why he isn't there. So it's not that he's left everything to shit. He just isn't there while his dad's alive.
And instead of this weird backstory by a river with the date with his wife, maybe his wife, who's also a priestess from this.
Yes, well, she mentions having her own sword. She's a priestess and a warrior. I like that idea. I want her to live
So
longer.
she's back in the kingdom and dies in that initial battle, but she actually winds up getting the king off the battlefield once he's wounded by Voltan and taken somewhere, hopefully to try to magically heal him when Voltan or some of Voltan's men, maybe Drogo, come in. She can't fend him off, and everybody dies.
Yes.
But between the two of them, between the king and Hawk's wife, Elena, they can magically send this sword to Hawk.
Okay.
And connect it. Or at least, I don't know.
Or they can hide it. Well, you know what? The sword is initially together, like it is with Hawk. But when they take it apart, it becomes powerless. So they both have to hide their own pieces.
Okay. It does disappear in pieces. And I think that's why Hawk has to go on his quest. And they are in particular kingdoms. The Elven Kingdom, the Dwarven Kingdom, and the rest could be with the priestesses.
There we go. And and that's how Voltan has managed to get so much toehold in theirs, because he had to go get some stuff done. Yeah.
Like I'd say the gem, the hilt part with the fist.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a separate piece too. And then the blade itself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah. And then Hawk's sorceress, and maybe he goes to her first because she can locate where the pieces of the sword have gone.
Yes. And you know what? We don't need the initial meeting. I kind of want him to have known her. I like her being completely part of the crew out the gate.
Oh, I like that too. Whatever task he's currently on, maybe they're defending a small town, she's throwing some fireballs and stuff, and then just gets a huge headache, whammo, and falls to the ground and goes, "Your father's dead."
Oh, yes. She's like, we have to go back. We have to go to, quote unquote, the beginning, which is the beginning of the sword.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I like that because her major power is as a seer first.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, cool. We got some stuff there.
Nice. I mean, she already shows that she goes into battle. Like, I mean, they had that big snowstorm in the Abbey, which actually, I laughed at the fireballs. But the snowstorm, I'm like, that actually kind of would be useful.
We got a budget to play with now, but also, I mean, we have a problem in the final battle. We've got a guy craving power who doesn't get it. Well, that's kind of anticlimactic. We need to get it. He's teamed up with some demon wizard thing, and it resurrects him from the dead, but doesn't give him any power?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that was supposed to be the sequel. I mean, I want the maybe the wizard and the abbess are the ones that tow off after Voltan and Hawk.
Yeah, I know he's after some secrets, but he maybe should get something enough to have a weapon that's at least the equivalent to Hawk's. So now we can have an actual battle that is something.
Oh, we can go into you can go into the whole thing where he is getting hurt and harmed by his lust for power, but you could have it where and this might be cheesy, but his weapon has to become part of him. It's another painful thing that he has to have.
Oh, that'd be interesting if the weapon, the more he uses it, the more of his body it takes.
Yeah, like it starts to assimilate to him.
Yeah.
And that's the price of using that.
Another cost as the demonic forces take over Voltan is...
Yes.
Maybe it's this demonic wizard he's teamed up with that's looking for a host body that can't leave the little magical realm, because
Yeah.
they always seem to be in this private little space when they talk.
And
That
I think
doesn't
it's been
look-
relegated there by, let's just say, maybe it is the abbesses and the sorceresses.
that have trapped this thing.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Because they know how much darkness it has, and they're like going, this is what's happened.
Yeah.
And then,
I like that a lot. Okay. And that gives us a big battle scene. And Voltan getting a lot more power, because you always want your hero on the back foot. You never feel
Yeah.
like Hawk's on his back foot.
Never.
You know, his poor allies keep dropping around him. He doesn't seem to care that much.
I know.
He's really cold.
I know. Yeah, he is cold, because there's a certain point where, like, when the dwarf dies, is it Baldwin?
Baldwin, yeah.
Baldwin. And, well, he knew what he was getting into. It was just, really?
Yeah.
The sorceress, she gives him a nice place to rest. She has more invested in this guy she kind of just met.
Right? I mean, she would know the ways of the elves to send them off to their wherever their afterlife that they believe in. And I think that's all important stuff.
Yeah.
But Hawk should be like...
He should be devastated.
Yeah. We don't have time to mourn right now.
Yeah.
Something along those lines while they're fighting. Let's fend off Voltan's forces.
Or let's
we'll
make
mourn
it,
later.
let's not make his death meaningless.
Yeah, one of those kind of lines that doesn't make him feel so heartless. I want to give him a sword that looks like he can handle it half the time he's cradling it. I mean, if it was a real sword like they say, the hero prop, then that thing was heavy. No wonder he was carrying it the way he was.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to have something that's... And it should be, because it is the Mind Stone, it feels light as a feather to him.
Yeah.
Because it's his sword.
Yeah, it's bonded to him.
Yeah.
He's quest for it and earned it, and in your quest, you're gathering allies, but also defeating other dark forces along the way, and because Voltan's also looking for those pieces too.
Exactly. And you know what? It does sort of solve some of the bits too, where I don't mind them. There's not too much walking. He picks up Crow when he gets to the elves. He picks up Baldwin when he gets to the dwarves.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he picks up Gort in another place. But, I mean, he picks them up when he gets the piece.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes... You don't have to do a separate quest for your people.
Yeah, and, I mean, if they don't want to give it up, maybe, like, Voltan's forces show up trying to get that piece.
Yeah.
There's another little battle or some creature that the demon sends.
Yeah.
And
they're like,
they
I'm not
earn it.
taking this crap. I'm in.
Yeah, and you're just reinvigorating these old alliances with Hawk and his kingdom, and Hawk's having to take control of his throne.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Okay, cool.
I think we got something. Yeah, something that actually connections that makes sense. Because like you said, he just kind of wants power, which, I mean, we've seen in movies.
Yeah.
Honestly, we've seen in life.
That's typical of a fantasy film.
But there's some clarification about the magic he was after, which he doesn't get. He just wants money, and it fell off the rails partway through.
Yeah, the motivations were, I'd never understood them initially.
No.
Like, all right, he wants gold. Okay, I got that.
And he wanted Hawk's wife. Okay.
Yeah. You took my girl. Oh, did I? All right.
Oh, did I? Yeah. At which point Hawk is like, she had a choice.
Mm-hmm. Also, you old.
Yeah. Yeah.
I honestly think the script was supposed to be younger.
I think so.
The way the movie watches it doesn't acknowledge Jack Palance's age difference.
I think it was, it should have been somebody younger, but Palance got the money.
Sure. He was the star they could get.
Yep.
That could sell the movie.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think maybe Jack Palance just wanted to vacation in England.
Hey, why not?
There's worse ways to make a movie. I mean, there's worse reasons. And I mean, honestly, Michael Caine does it for the money, and he doesn't apologize, and I appreciate that about him.
Yeah, he's honest about it. I didn't do it because it was a good script. It just a dump truck full of money parked in front of my house, and I wanted it.
Well, you said about Jaws 4, I've never seen it, but I've seen the house it bought, and it's great.
Yeah, exactly. I can't imagine these guys were offering a ton of money up.
No.
I don't know what the budget was on this.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I think it was probably just, Palance was just enough to get what the budget they could get.
Yeah.
Because wasn't it Corman?
Roger Corman.
Roger Corman was slated to be behind this.
Oh, well.
At a certain point.
Yeah, that certainly makes a lot of sense. Yeah, IMDb doesn't show a budget, so we're going to say, $20.
No, I'd say maybe
Pounds.
50 grand. 50,000 pounds.
50,000 pounds? Yeah, 50 to 100,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's about it.
Sure.
Because, I mean, like you say, there's a lot of people who die, so you have to have a lot of people on set.
Yeah. The only thing that really looked good were the costuming, I think.
Yes.
And I wouldn't say great, but they looked pretty decent.
Well, I mean, it's simple costuming. I mean,
Yeah.
the nuns, their costumes.
They were nun costumes.
They were nun costumes, but I mean, so simple.
Yeah.
Simple and easy.
I mean, I'd want something a little fancier, but we haven't made them nuns per se now.
True.
We've given them more of a priestess, sorceress, I don't know, like a holy wizard thing.
Yeah. They want magic, but they want good magic. That's
They're the lights, they are the guides to the kingdom and of faith and healing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're the foundation for a lot of our characters.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's become a nice focal point. Cool. Well, I think we're ready to cast this sucker.
Yes.
What do you got?
All right. I went in a weird direction with some of these, but I had fun.
Well, it wouldn't be you if you didn't.
True. For Hawk, I went with Nicholas Hoult.
Okay. I looked at that. I thought about it.
Because I don't know why. I was struggling with Hawk. That was the hardest one for me.
Hawk and Voltan was the hardest for me, too.
Absolutely. Well, Voltan, I had an idea. Jared Harris.
I'm not sure who that is.
He was in The Quiet Ones. He's one of those guys you see in that movie at one time.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I feel he could chew a lot of scenery. For Gort, I went with Ian White, who played a giant in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I went for Crow. I chose Archie Punjabi, who's a British actress who was in Snowpiercer.
Oh.
So I genders flipped it.
Right.
But I thought that would be interesting. Balden, I went with Noel Fielding. He's just going to be, and part of it, I want him to, the joke to be, he's a tall dwarf.
I like him. I like that.
Exactly. Yeah. He's the tallest dwarf. If that was the first one I cast, because I'm like, ooh, Noel Fielding would be great in that.
I went with tough dwarf, but yours is cooler.
For the abbess, Meg Kubota, who was in Good Omens, which is a British TV series. Mm-hmm. For the witch / woman, Shorich Agdashlu. And I cast her because she's a voice you have heard. You may not have seen her face, but you've definitely heard her voice in things. She has a very deep
That's interesting
voice.
You say that, because I was targeting voices along with physical presence.
Oh yeah, she's got a great presence. If you watched Renfield, she's like the mafia mama in that.
Okay, I haven't got to
And also the alternative was me. For Ranulph, Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Sure.
I like him. For the father of Hawk and Voltan, I went with John Terry, who was the original Hawk.
Oh, okay.
Because I figured, why not?
Why not?
Elaine Carey Mulligan and Drogo Sam Claflin. And that's all I cast because I didn't quite know what direction we were going to go in.
Yeah.
The director, I went with Alice Lowe. She did Prevenge because I wanted to bring kind of a quirky, unusual sort of supernatural bit to this.
I did add a bunch of female characters into mine because the only idea coming in was what did I wanted to do with the abbot, the abbey. I thought I wanted to elevate that into something and be the focal points of our story and a lot of our characters. So I started adding in characters like the Black Wizard. I made female from the other side as well. So we had
at one point
feminine balance.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's the one I was going for with Crow. And at a certain point, I actually had the nuns be like kind of secret warriors. But that I'm like, that doesn't pan out. I was having trouble with them, but I did want to pad that out.
Okay, for my Hawk, and mainly based on how he looks in the upcoming Craven movie, which is now slipped into next year, you know what I'm talking about, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
I also really liked him in Bullet Train. I think he's starting to really coming into his own after an awkward start to his action career.
True. But I mean, Kick-Ass was fun.
Sure. Well, and I'm going to say Godzilla, I'm going to lop into felt a bit awkward, but he was brilliant in fucking Bullet Train.
Yeah. He's coming into himself now.
Yeah. And I liked what I saw of him in Craven. I think Craven's going to be a fucking disaster, unfortunately.
But I'll watch it for him. $100. Absolutely.
if they called it something else, not Craven, I think it might be a pretty enjoyable film. But
Oh, yeah.
for comic book fans like myself, like I'm gonna have to like turn that part off of my brain. I'm like, no,
You're going to have to.
this isn't Craven. For Voltan, I went with Tom Hardy because I wanted somebody
he
with
came across my desk too.
I wanted somebody who could be like the opposite and be physical, but has a mean look, and he's got a mean look. He could do badass. And of course, everybody knows him from Mad Max Fury Road, Inception,
And
Dark Knight Rises.
If you have prosthetics, he's done Bane.
Yep. For Crow the Elf, I went with native actor Dakota Beavers from Prey.
Sweet. Like that.
Yeah. I was thinking like Lord of the Rings and the archers with the elves and stuff. And then I thought about how he moved and fought in Prey. And I'm like, well, what if elves were more of a native species attached to the land? The more I thought about it, the more that felt natural to me.
And you know what? Truly, that's actually with a lot of lore with elves and such like that. Iceland, especially, like they're attached to the land. They're attached to places.
Yeah. So I thought that would be a really great take on that and
Nice.
do something different with a native actor other than having to
Just be the native actor, right?
be the native actor, right? So really thought that'd be a good way
Like
to go.
that.
For Baldwin the Dwarf, I went with Manu Bennett from Arrow. He played Deathstroke on Arrow. He was also in Spartacus, Blood and Sand, but he also actually played a dwarf in The Hobbit.
Nice.
It's not something he's a stranger to.
Oh, yeah. And the thing when I looked at size, I wasn't really torn by making him a small actor. I'm like, we've seen it in The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, the effects are there, right? Now, for our giant, I went with Conan Stevens, also from Game of Thrones. You know him as the Mountain there.
Yeah.
He's also was in The Hobbit, probably an orc or something.
Yep.
And he played the Man-Thing in Man-Thing. And no, I'm not talking about Werewolf by Night. There was a Man-Thing movie that nobody knows exists. And as far as seeking it out, you can if you want. It's not great. It's not, I wouldn't even call it good, but just want to let you know, Werewolf by Night was not the first appearance of Man-Thing on our screens.
Man-Thing.
Yeah.
Nice. I love just the honesty of that name. Just Man-Thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it got awkward in the 70s when Marvel had their giant size specials. So, giant size Man-Thing? Yeah. There were about 4 or 5 of those.
Nobody caught it.
Oh, they caught it eventually. I mean, 70s, they probably didn't catch the nuances, but much, much later, we all caught it. That is one giant Man-Thing.
Oh, talk about sword and sorcery.
For Ranulph, I don't know, I wanted somebody with a similar gravelly voice and presence who could still fight, but be an aged actor. I went with Stephen Lang from Avatar and Don't Breathe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Now, here we get into some of my female characters. I made a new character who replaced the abbess called the White Priestess. And I went with Lena Headey from Game of Thrones and 300, which we talked about in episode 228, not 300.
Yeah. Why do we do? I don't know.
I know. Because
we didn't know we'd get that far.
No, we didn't. But hey, when we did 101 Dalmatians in episode 99, we probably could have made it.
We could have figured that one out.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, we're not smart. For the sorceress, the ally of Hawk, I went with Sophia Bush.
Oh, yes.
From The Hitcher, which we talked about.
She came up for me as well because of her voice.
Yeah, that's why I chose her voice. Episode 201, we talked about The Hitcher. She was in that. And, of course, a lot of people know her from Chicago PD.
Yes.
I changed the Black Wizard into a Dark Priestess. And, again, somebody whose voice I just adore, and she's just awesome femme fatale. We've seen her be a dark vampire in Castlevania as a voice. Jamie Murray, who we talked about her in episode 257, which was Fright Night 2.
Yes, she's got a great voice, and I like her.
Yeah, I got one more with a good voice. Sister Monica, I wanted that character that this would be our character as a priestess or whatever.
Yeah, the double agent.
The double agent. Jewel State from Firefly and Family Law.
Yes.
Another good voice, too. And for my director, he does great action sorcery pieces. Gore Verbinski. He did the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean movies, so he could. Okay,
I'm kind of angry I didn't choose him.
Yeah.
I mean, Alice, you know what? Alice Lowe can be AD. Gore Verbinski. There we go. I got this.
Nice.
She can handle it. She can okay, this is part with the women. We're doing this.
I really like my cast, actually.
Yes, it's a really good cast.
That's a film that's probably not going to be. Well, you know what? I don't know if I got anybody too expensive as far as actor-wise go, but I got enough.
I don't think I did.
I got a good leads as well as strong supporting characters that aren't super expensive either. They're TV people, a lot of them. So
yeah, and I mean, give them a chance. Sure, they might be TV people. Looking at all the IMDb's for all of these people, so much TV.
I mean, fantasy still is pretty minimal in theatrical releases. Yeah. It's Harry Potter and Hobbit movies. And whatever else comes out, they're not going to do that, right? They're not going to do that kind of money. But a new property, if you can come up with a modest budget, if you can put this in the 20 to 30 million category, it might make some money. Well,
and here's what I find with some of these shows, some of the big money fantasy movies is, I mean, we got character, but I'm like, I want more character and more story. And you can do that with a lower budget. We can spend the time to find, because like you say, we didn't know the motivations. It was just a struggle.
No, this movie was a jumble. It was so weird in how it was presented to me. It was, here's sequence, but nothing really coalesced into a plot to me. And none of it really made sense to me as I was watching it. I don't know. By the end, I'm like, I vaguely get it.
Like the hunchback sort of is mentioned, then shows up, but the point of getting to him was getting more money to pay the money back, but they never had any intention of paying the money back, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, just plot contrivances, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, we need to fill time. We'll throw in a hunchback and his henchmen. You gotta do stuff when you're writing a movie like this that forwards your story.
Yeah.
And if you take it out, will it make a difference to the film? Yeah. And I would say you could take out about 85% of this movie and it would make a damn bit of difference.
You know what? I have no problem with a side quest. Love me a side quest, but the side quest has to achieve something.
Yeah. We talked about that with Star Wars and the casino thing in the new trilogy that accomplishes nothing.
Yeah. It should have been in a separate movie is the problem. That's the one thing. Like sometimes you'll get these side quests. And honestly, they're their own movie. Yeah. You don't put them in this one. You give it its own movie.
I mean, if it's interesting enough, sure. But it's got to achieve something that forwards your story. Otherwise, what's the point of it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, with that one, sorry to go to Star Wars, but having, what's his face on Casino Planet just pulling scams.
Finn.
That's a movie.
Yeah. We might have been able to actually pull something out of that, but nothing was really achieved by any of that. So.
No.
IMDb gives this a 5.3 out of 10.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes. Take your guess. What do you think the critics thought of this on Rotten Tomatoes?
Ooh, 41.
Oh. What do you think the audience score was?
It's kind of culty favorite-y. 51.
Damn, you are doing good today.
What? Really? Or am I?
Critics gave it a 40%. You were 1% off.
Shit.
Audiences gave it a 57%, so a little higher than what you said, but not by much.
Holy crap. See, Sam steals my power, my guessing energy. And when he's not here, I can achieve
greatness.
There it is.
You've achieved greatness.
Sam can't defend himself, so I'm just going to blame him.
Why not? Sam's the evil wizard.
Yep. Oh my God, he wasn't kidnapped. He just went to evil wizard camp.
Oh no.
See, now that would be a great movie, Evil Wizard Camp. I would watch. That'd be a great animated show.
Okay, Voltan. Hang on the vengeance a little bit.
Voltan's like, I don't want a canoe. Voltan, we all canoe here at Evil Wizard Camp.
Stop sketching out evil traps.
Yeah. Well, no,
and go on the zip line.
They do, but that's part of it. The zip line's like, you have to do the zip line, but then we'll do your traps later. Okay, so half the wizard camp is doing the obstacle course, but the other half of the wizard camp designed the obstacle course. So some wizards ain't coming home.
Well, no, I'd say they have their own obstacle course for fun and training.
Yeah.
And then they have the one they invite the Cub Scouts to.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Or no, the kids from the neighboring Bible camp.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. Oh my God. No, it's the rich kids camp. You put in that, and then it becomes that 80s theme.
This is how we fund Wizard Camp.
This is how we fund Wizard Camp. No, but like it's that 80s theme where there's always the Richies on the other side of the lake that they have to compete against, and the bad Wizard Camp are the underdogs. Yeah.
I like it.
Wizard nerds. We're not wizard nerds.
We could have like an ethereal wizard kid talking into Jason's ear. No, kill the camp counselor.
Kill the camp counselor. Pillow over the face. Kill. Then Jason shows up and he's like, nope, I'm out.
It's gotten too weird for me.
Yep.
It's Shark Week. I don't want to jump it.
Exactly. I've done enough of these movies. I'm tired. Go ahead, little wizard kids.
Have at them. I'm so sick of killing camp counselors.
Exactly. Remember, the ones who have sex go first. That's my only note.
Nice.
Okay, so in that wayward, we get to Bad Wizard Camp. See, now we're just
now
having
we have a cartoon spinoff.
Other movies. Yeah, a cartoon spinoff of Bad Wizard Camp.
Yeah.
And then you can make it like Ernest movies. Voltan goes to Bad Wizard Camp. Voltan goes to jail. Voltan scared stupid.
I just imagine Voltan trying to fly a kite like Charlie Brown or hold a football. Like, well, that's Voltan.
Yeah. Voltan, it's going to be tougher to climb. Do rock climbing with that big cape. I'm not taking it off.
It's my power.
Well, your power's gonna look stupid with the harness wrapped around you.
Yeah, and you're going to die if you keep wearing the eye patch.
Yes. Voltan gets there. He's like, it cannot be healed. First aider comes in. Oh, no, just a little polysporin.
Actually, that's the thing with the cartoon Voltan. He does die a lot. That's why he is the demon wizard guy to resurrect him.
Nice. He's the Kenny, but he's a main character.
Yeah. Voltan died again.
Wizard. Damn it, Voltan. And the wizard comes back.
I only have so many dragon toenails.
No, but just like the wizard comes back, like she's in the middle of something. Like the wizard comes in, got knitting. The wizard's like holding a margarita and has a hat. It's like, again, I was on vacation.
Right? He could stay dead for a couple of days.
The wizard is in full robe, but it has a towel wrapped around like they've just gotten out of the shower.
There's like a cartoon theme song forming in my head.
Oh, nice.
I'm not improv enough to do it.
What was it? Bad Wizard Camp. Bad Wizard Camp. Learn all the stuff you need to know. To kill all your enemies. Bad Wizard Camp. Bad Wizard Camp.
Learn to ride a dragon.
And learn to kill. What? Learn to freeze a spider and then make it huge and no, it went off the rails.
All right. Well, if you want to see Bad Wizard Camp, follow us on our social media. I don't know if there'll be actually any references to Wizard Camp on our social media, but you could try.
Once I can get my drawing good enough, Bad Wizard Camp may have a shirt.
There you go. Follow us on our social media at Invasion Remake on Twitter or X or whatever Elon Musk seems to be calling it this week.
Yeah.
We're at that place.
Yelling into the void.
Yeah. Like, God damn it, why is this? And that's why we had to take our knitting over to Threads.
Yes.
So we're over there too. We're Invasion of the Remake over there, as well as Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. We're Invasion of the Remake at all those places. And you can also email us your suggestions, your corrections, and your comments to invasionoftheremake@gmail.com. If you want to send us a fan challenge, make sure it's at least 20 years old. Nothing too great. And try to tell us how to source it. And if we like all of those things, could become a future episode. If you want to up your chances too, why don't you do an audio recording? Hit that voice note on your phone and then email it to us, and I can run that on the show, right?
Yes. And if you have, especially for Jay, if it's got a weird hook or an interesting title, you can probably sneak it in.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
I'll be like, oh, there's a leprechaun. Oh, there's a witch.
Exactly. And if you've heard any of our episodes, you'll know a wild title of a movie will intrigue us greatly.
Oh, yeah. When I go through the cast list and I see something insane on their credit list, I'll name that over the famous thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's just more fun.
Oh, yeah. You've caught me a couple times where I'm like, what the hell could that be?
Right.
Must see it. It sounds so strange.
Yeah. Well, Trisha, I already mentioned maybe a t-shirt. And if you go to our website, there is a store button that is invasionoftheremake.wixsite.com/podcast. You can find our archives there and ways to listen to the show, to link up to Apple Podcasts and all sorts of places.
All sorts of feeds there.
All sorts of feeds are over there. We're on everything. If you have an iPhone and you're on Apple Podcasts, we're there.
Yeah.
If you have the
only thing
Android,
probably excluding you is if you're in the woods and all you've got is a ham radio. Then we cannot help you.
Yeah, we can't help you there. That's maybe we'll send the podcast via smoke signal.
Exactly. Or semaphore. I want to bring semaphore back.
Yeah, somebody needs to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that you learn at Bad Wizard Camp.
Yeah. So while you're at our website, hit the store button. That'll take you to our TeePublic Store. You can find t-shirts, mugs, posters, PPE masks, notebooks, totes, posters, magnets, stickers, and all sorts of cool stuff. They just introduced tie-dye t-shirts. So some of our designs are going to look awesome on a tie-dye.
So excited.
Yeah. I haven't ordered one yet, but I want to try one of those.
And we're going to be in fall soon, so maybe a nice, cozy hoodie.
I think that needs to happen. And yeah, anytime you buy something cool from the store, it helps keep the show free for you every single week. We don't get paid to do this. In fact, as much as we like your support with the t-shirts and stuff, it's still not enough to cover our costs. So, buy a shirt, help us out, and that helps.
And look stylish.
And you're going to look cool doing it. And speaking of feeds that you can find us on, wherever you listen to the podcast, give us a 5-star rating and a short review. It helps get more
earballs
on the show. We thank you for your support in listening and buying our merch and passing on the word. It's why we're still here almost 9 years later.
I know.
Getting really close to 400, folks.
We were so young when we started.
Yeah, we were.
We're Jack Palance trying to play a much younger character.
That's right. We grew old doing this thing.
Yeah. But not because of it. This helps keep us young. We love it.
That's right.
But time's cruel. It's an angry god.
Well, she's getting depressed now. I'm not sure what we're going to do next week. I got a comparison coming up. Trish and I will try to do something that Sam hates.
Nice. Because sometimes we like to give, if the person's away, we'll give them a break.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I don't have a hit yet, but I've kind of got some ideas of what might do, but I haven't narrowed it down yet. So no hints this week. We'll catch you next week. Until then, I've been Jason.
Sam's not here, and I continue to be Trish.
And we are out of here.
Even as we speak, the wizards gather in the south. Follow your destiny.
When you get that look in your face...
You did say south, woman.
Ah, well. Who wants to work with fat old barons anyway? South it is.
We shall meet again, bearer of the Mind Sword.